All right, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 0 of Corporate Pistons, our very first episode. So, Adi, how are you?
Pilot episode.
For
I'm good. How are you?
ah, good, good. So we had a bit of a bumpy start here in the background, but now all systems are up and running. Yeah,
Yes.
welcome everyone to our very first podcast. So, Corporate Pistons, Adi,
Right.
what the hell are we trying to do here? What's this all about?
Good you asked, Bogdan. No, it's just Bogdan and I were talking, and we work for the same company in different countries, and we were both sort of feeling the corporate life, positive and negative, and we thought this might be a good chance and to share it with the world, and also to hear from other people around the world how they're uh, going along with it. And that's the basic idea of this podcast.
Yeah.
So it just, sharing experiences in the corporate world, different themes and topics within the corporate life, things like that.
For sure, for
So
sure.
that's my understanding. Bogdan, feel free to add anything
No, no,
that you may want to, or that I meant.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. Yeah, we're both, we both share the same passion for automotive and just generally talking rubbish. And like I said, I think
Yeah,
especially in the corporate world, everyone's complaining about it. I think it's you either love it or hate it. But I think the idea was that, everyone in the corporate world seems to at least put on that facade that, oh, we're doing so great and everything's so wonderful and everyone knows what they're doing. Whereas in reality, I don't think anyone talks enough about how little we actually know what we're doing. So that's why we decided
yeah.
to have this podcast and just, peel back the curtain a bit and actually admit that, corporate world is for sure it has its perks and its advantages, but there's a hell of a lot of things just casually going wrong all the time that most people just decide to ignore it and just pretend like that was the plan all along. So we're just trying to
Yeah,
spread a bit of
exactly.
positivity about the corporate world, make people laugh a bit, and if nothing else, just vent a bit between ourselves because apparently having a podcast is cheaper than therapy. Let's try like that.
and also I think I mean you mentioned this just now, but I'm going to highlight this point very specifically. The idea is if we can make at least even one person, another somebody else in the world who's exactly like us, in living the corporate life, going to work, the 9 to 5 job, the grind, whatever else it may entail, positive and negative. If it can even bring a small smile on their face, I think that's an achievement in itself.
Oh yeah, that.
Because we all know things can get mundane, and what's the point of life if we can't smile at least about something? So we hope that this gives you that reason to smile, even if it's a small one. You're also free to laugh at us because this will be an uncensored, self-deprecating podcast where we will go off on tangents and sort of, pull ourselves down and pick ourselves back
Oh yeah,
up. So
bullshittery is
if that
included.
helps you,
Yeah.
yes, it comes in abundance. So it will come in abundance. But yeah, so that's the idea behind it.
And speaking of which,
Bogdan,
yeah.
we should mention uh, the structure and how the frequency and all that, what we're gonna
Yeah,
do or what we're planning at least.
so we're planning to do it very corporate-ish. I think the plan is, try to get one episode out every week. So every Monday, hopefully with a bit of luck around the same time frame, a new episode will drop. And we'll try to keep our blabbering quite concise at just around the half an hour, 45-minute mark. That's still TBD. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, I think that is the overall plan. So every Monday, like clockwork, just like that boring stand-up meeting that you probably have in your team or in the office, you you can count on our podcast dropping, and like I said, hopefully would make that Monday a bit less blue.
Exactly. And even like you said, just like corporate meetings, even though we're thinking of 30 minutes podcast, it's never going to work exactly at 30 minutes. It's not going to be clockwork. We all know this. No meeting is ever 30 minutes. I Yesterday I came off a meeting that went on for 2 hours, so we won't do that to you, but count on corporate style timing as well.
But just like corporate meetings, we do have an
Okay?
agenda for each episode. So we do have,
Yes.
the intro section. We will have our main stories or topics for the day. And as we said, since Pistons and the automotive world is in the name of the podcast, we will have plenty or try to have a few tangents derailing into the automotive car stuff, and we'll try not to geek out too much on that, depending on the topic.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, we have a theme for every episode, and we have specific topics lined up that we would address and discuss and share our thoughts and feelings and whatever else. And that will be in the intro section of every podcast,
And who
hopefully.
knows, we might even have a few guests now and again to spice things up a bit and bring a bit more insight to our
Yes,
world.
yes, correct.
All right, so with that out of the way, I think we can dive straight into the main theme of today. And since it's the pilot
Yes,
episode, since
agreed.
it's the
Let's do that.
very first time we're on air and talking, um, I thought it makes sense to, just dive into a bit the background and the origin story of both you and I. How did we end
Yeah,
up
yeah.
being the corporate bitches that we are today, and how did we land in the corporate world? Like,
How,
was that something you
how are
always
we
dreamt?
one of the
Was that your dream all
how
along,
are
Adi?
we the we'll get to that. Short answer, no, it wasn't, but no regrets either. No, yeah, the goal is to see how we ended up becoming one of the 450,000.
Minions.
I wanted to say ants, but I'm just going to say people in the big company that we work for. For compliance reasons, we would like to keep things anonymous. But
Yeah, because in
yeah,
case this podcast fails,
um,
we would very much like to keep our jobs.
exactly, exactly. So go for it, Bogdan. You give an intro about yourself, and then I'll follow suit.
Well, I mean, as you can probably tell from the accent, I'm definitely not British or native English speaker, which, fun fact, I think neither of us are, Adi, come to think about it. But
Or
yeah,
not? No.
definitely never thought of myself as being anywhere in near the corporate world. Actually, growing up, I wanted to be a car mechanic or be one of the pit crew members in Formula One. I think that was my dream growing up. But then I realized, oh shit, even the guy changing the wheel in Formula One has a few degrees and a lot of work experience. So then I thought, oh, maybe I'll just become like a car mechanic and work in a garage shop. But then I thought, maybe
Yeah.
it would look better with a degree attached to it as well. So around
Yeah.
whenever it's time to go to uni, like 19 years old or something, I got the opportunity to go abroad and study in the UK. So I got a bachelor's
Yeah.
in automotive engineering. And during the placement year, where you basically get 1 year off uni to go out there and work, by luck, I got accepted or I got a job with a large automotive-ish engineering company. And that's where I was doing some
Mm.
project manager management work, basically arguing with Germans very politely over email, saying, "Could you please do this?" Them saying no, and I said, "But really, please, the customer needs it." And that was my first intro into the corporate life. And I realized it's quite fun and yeah, a lot better than changing tires in a garage shop or getting covered in oil on a daily basis. So after uni, I just came back for more. So I've been doing this for about
Yeah,
7 or 8 years now, and recently I moved away from London and the glamorous UK lifestyle back to my home country. Still with the same company, still doing project management, or even more focused on project management now, because now it's officially my job title, not just in my day to day. And yeah,
mm.
that's been the grind for me. So 11 years on in the UK, 7 or 8 years in the corporate treadmill, and still here for more. What about you?
Excellent. Yeah, and you went to university in Romania as well, right?
No, actually, university was in the UK, up north, close to Manchester.
Ah, in the UK.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Ah, okay.
So
Gotcha.
that was a bit that got me into the
Gotcha.
UK, and
Cool.
then like any good immigrant, I just never left until recently.
Well, my story isn't much different. It's just on the other side of the pond. Yeah. Anything else did you want to add?
No, no. I'm curious to hear about your story because I don't think I ever fully. We'll get into how we got to know each other a bit later, but I don't remember ever
Yeah,
fully hearing your story.
yeah, exactly. No, that's fair. I'll keep it short because it's quite an elaborate story, and people who want to maybe get to know me more can contact me later, or it's not for the whole story is not for a podcast, so I'll keep it short. I was born and raised in India. I was 13 or 14 maybe when we left India. My father got a job in Germany, so we moved to Germany. I finished my high school there, and then I ended up going to an international school as a high school student here in Germany, and it so happened that majority of my classmates were Americans. They're from the US. And after high school, most of them were going to go back to the US, and they had a huge influence on me. So they said, well, I got brainwashed and ended up convincing my parents that I want to go to university in the US.
That
So
sounds
off I
cheap.
went. It was in hindsight, would I do it again, knowing now what I know now? Probably not. But having said that, I'm not regretting one bit going there because I did have experiences that only US can offer, and I mean that in the most positive way possible.
Nice.
So no regrets at all. So anyway, I went to the university. I was always into, from a very young age, I was always into airplanes and rockets, especially the space shuttle and things like that. So I always knew I wanted to study aerospace engineering. So that's what I did in the US.
Hmm,
Um, and I also I did my master's, but the funding got cut off at a certain point. I had a grant, but then the grant stopped from the government, and then my professor couldn't fund me anymore. So even though technically I do have a master's, I don't have you know, a, a certificate, a piece of paper saying that I have one. So it's sort of incomplete. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I was really good at research, and after university, I had the chance to work at a few nearby aerospace companies. I also had a engineering project from NASA. That was a great honor. It's things like that that I don't regret at all.
oh, nice.
And after that, became a bigger idiot and went even further west uh, uh, to California to start my own company. I had a patent on something that I was working on back then under my name. That was going well to an extent, and then the political climate changed, and it wasn't sustainable anymore. So I decided to come back to Germany about 7, 8 years ago, just like you. And ever since then, I've been in this corporate job. So really, when I started out after university and even university, I was more of an entrepreneur and like a sort of a free spirit, if you will.
Hmm.
Not the never saw myself as a corporate. But having been here 7 to 8 years now in this job, also as a project manager in the automotive world in Germany, I'm sure most people can already deduce where we work,
It's
but
fine.
we're still
It's
going to
fine.
keep it anonymous. We still don't want to get our asses kicked, so we're going to keep it anonymous. No, having been here, having been in this job, like you said, I just saw how much there was to learn. You know, it's great. Um, i- yes, people complain, but there's also so much to learn. There's so much that I didn't know that I learned from the corporate world, and I'm super thankful for it. Like the entire, for example, supply chain industry behind automotive, and I know from experience that it's similar in the aerospace world as well. There's so much tiny little things that nobody ever thinks of, but that needs to be done to do stuff. So for that learning aspect, at least, I'm actually super thankful I have this job. So it's good, but that's still not going to stop us from bitching and moaning about being in the corporate world. So let's continue with it.
Sorry,
Yeah,
but
so that's the general that's the general well, that's the history on my end. But yeah, I've always been a petrol head. You know, my friends in high school, they used to be amazed at me because I could literally name any car they would point to on the street, and I would tell them what make, model, sometimes even the engine, the horsepower, whatever else, information I could just, somehow it just like stuck with me. So I've always been a petrol head. I've always had a thing for cars, even though my real passion is in the aerospace world. Cars are amazing. It's fantastic. So
nice.
yeah, I'm happy to do this as well.
Oh, you had indeed quite the journey, and definitely more of a globetrotter than I have been, at least in the corporate or yeah, in the academical and corporate landscape. Did you find difficult the
Yeah.
transition to join the corporate world after being an entrepreneur and having your own thing going?
And I mean, difficult can mean a lot of things, right? What I found difficult was at least the first 6 months to a year, I would say. The only thing that I really truly found difficult was the amount of processes and steps and red tapes that you had to cross to get to somewhere or to achieve something or to make something happen. That was and is still the biggest craziness for me. That I'm still sort of gobsmacked by. I mean, now I understand it a lot better and I understand why it's there and why it's been done. But that was the biggest but that was the biggest challenge, I would say. Everything else, like speaking to customers or speaking with engineers and adjusting finances in the project, whatever else as project managers that we do. It was not that much of it's still not that much of a challenge, I would say. I'm just not the most detailed person. Every time I have to do something detailed or fill out some massive Excel template, I think, oh man, I need an assistant for this. That's so that's really the only craziness that I go through. How about you?
I mean, for me, it was, the corporate world was the first thing that I've saw and the only thing that I've known so far. So,
Yeah,
I kind
yeah,
of just took it as it is and just accepted that that's the way the world is. So I kind of, yeah, just accepted, having to send an email and wait for like four signatures before I can make a coffee or something like that. Um,
Exactly, exactly.
so that's, for me, it was just how the world works. Um, Obviously, I did have a bit more of a learning curve when it came to, talking to customers, talking internally, doing all the presentations, the slides, because no one really teaches you in
Mm.
uni or in school, how to make a good presentation for corporate or for a management review or for anything like that. Um,
Yeah.
I think even in the engineering world, especially, everyone's very detailed orientated, and they like going into the all the technicalities and all the maths behind it, and all the. If you ask a proper engineer to make you a slide on something, they'll just give you like 17 slides of Excel screenshots and calculations. Um,
Yeah, they'll just copy paste the Excel table into the PowerPoint
e-
and then send it to you.
exactly.
Like, here you
Whereas,
go.
yeah, in the corporate world, I think the art of just synthesizing bullshit is what gets you further in your career. So
It's how nicely can you present that same piece of bullshit that everybody's after.
exactly, exactly.
How good does your PowerPoint slide look compared to mine?
Yep.
That's what it is.
And if who can
Yeah,
squeeze the most amount of information, like the least amount of words on one slide. I think that's the golden
exactly.
ratio.
Exactly.
But also very quickly, like, do you still remember? Because we met through our jobs and through the corporate world. Like that's how we started talking.
We
Because
did,
I
yeah.
had no idea who you
We
were.
did.
Do you actually
Through
remember
through
that?
through our through a mutual colleague of ours.
Actually, well, yes and no, because the way I remember it is I was sitting at work in lockdown doing home office as all the planet was doing. And then all of a sudden, randomly, I got a phone call on Teams from this guy I never knew. It just popped out there. He was just calling me random. Like the audacity, first of all, not even a hello, do you have time for a call? Just bang on phone call. And I was like, okay, let's see what this dodgy guy wants from my life. So, I picked up the phone, and there you were, just presenting yourself, being like, I heard you could help me with the so and so product for this project of mine and this client of mine that I'm working for. And I think, me just trying to diffuse the situation because I didn't know who you were and what you wanted. I was like, I think I made a snappy comment towards your client because I also work with them and I didn't have the best collaboration or experience with them. So I think I called your customer an
Nobody
asshole or
does.
something. And then,
I'm pretty sure I know which client this is, and I'm pretty sure
yeah, it's that
what
one.
you said holds true. So it's fine. Yeah.
It's that
Okay.
one. And the thing that sold it for me is that immediately after I said that, I started thinking, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I don't really know this guy. Is he a manager? Is he not? And then all of a sudden, you just came back with like an even snappier comeback, like something you said, even something even meaner about them. And that's when I knew, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna be friends.
Well, for me, yeah, no, I agree with you. That's how we first spoke on Teams or Skype, I think back then. It wasn't Teams yet. I think we still had Skype back then. Um, yes, you're right. And the reason I got your name was through our mutual friend who now lives in Dubai.
Living the poor
Um,
life, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Koenigsegg and Bugatti Chiron are his
Daily drivers.
regular Tuesdays now. But yeah, anyway, no, he said, "Hey, go to Bogdan, and he is responsible for this, this, and this, and he can get you the components out the door." And we said, "Okay."
Fake
And
news, but yeah.
because we I think we both know the client we're talking about, and we
Yes.
know how they operate, and because everything needs to happen or
Yesterday,
have happened yesterday for them, I didn't have the chance to properly introduce myself, write a nice corporate email. Dear Mr. Bogdan, my name is Adi Nagesh, blah blah blah. I am looking for this, this, and this. Are you the right person? I didn't have the time to do that. So I'm just like, let me just call this guy and see what happens. That's how it came across.
Still, the
But I'm
audacity.
glad it did because well, I'll blame this on the customer.
Yeah,
It's not the audacity came from them, so I'll just pass it on to them.
amongst all many millions of other things that we blame them for in
But
our
but
coffee breaks.
but when you made whatever smirky comment that was about the client, which I'm sure everybody does, by the way, and when you made that, and I was thinking, okay, this guy clearly. My first reaction was, either he's being sarcastic or he like just hates the world in general. So I'm like, let me put my bets on this guy being sarcastic and go back with like an even dirtier comment. Uh, and I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad I took that bet because it was you were just joking and it worked out. It clicked. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, I'm very happy that it did work out like that. And
Yeah, even though we sometimes we go on months not speaking at work, but then it's never like we never stop talking. It's like we never stop talking.
yeah, you're
So
like that pesky
it's not. It's
friend
good.
that
It's good
just
fun.
you just popped up in my life one day, and then I wasn't able to get rid of you
Uh,
since.
exactly.
Well,
And then I even had to carry you back to your hotel room at one
that's a
point. We'll
different
get to that
story.
story another.
That's
That's a different. Yes, yes. We'll get to that in a different on a different day. But yeah.
yeah. Let's save that for like a big subscriber milestone or something. I'm not ready to put that out there just like that
Yes,
yet.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
but I did.
Anything else?
Yeah,
Did you want to add?
yeah. No, I was just thinking because you did mention talking about our mutual friend in Dubai now. That's the guy that's just living the life, driving all the fancy cars that we dream about. Since this is a
Exactly.
kind of automotive-ish conversation as well, if
Yeah.
right now, starting a new week, if you were able to just pick any car and drive it to work today, like what car would you jump into, assuming what's your favorite, what would be your dream car to drive to work in?
So this changes quite often because I am a petrol head and I don't have one car that I aspire to every single day since I was a small boy. So this week, for me, it is. I've been thinking about this for the past few days, actually. It's the McLaren Artura.
Ooh.
The new hybrid, plug-in hybrid McLaren from.
Yeah, yeah, I know it.
Oh, it is fantastic car. I don't know. I really like that one. I like the idea. I mean, I know everybody's complaining, and I mean, rightfully so, that 10 years from now the battery might go ape shit, and it'll lose all its resale value. Who care? Whatever. But right now, when it's at least fresh. I like that idea of like sneaking out of the house or your garage in pure electric quiet mode. And then once you're on the open road, turning on the V6 in that car. And the V6 actually sounds really good. People, they're always usually fixated on V8s, V10s, and V12s, but this V6 actually does sound good. I was watching the new Harry Metcalf video on YouTube a few days ago, and my God, it's fantastic. I don't know. I really like it. I like the design. I like everything.
Would you keep a stock exhaust on that thing, or would you change the exhaust on it?
I would keep it stock. I'm one of these people that doesn't like loud exhausts. I don't like it. It's not me. It's really not me.
Okay.
So I'd rather hear the engine sound rather than the exhaust sound. I don't know why people are so addicted to exhaust notes. That's not me.
Okay.
How about you?
Oh, I think I'm going the opposite direction to you. So right now, spring is around the corner. Everything's nice and shiny and bright and sunny and all that. So what I think I'll drive, I'm thinking I'll take a convertible to work if I could. And I was,
Well, the Arturo that I want is the Spider,
ooh,
is not
okay.
the regular
Ah,
coupe.
okay, okay. Yeah, I
So
mentioned
I'm
that.
with you on that one.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
would go like
I
old
mean, my
school.
bald head needs to my bald head needs to shine in the sun, my friend. It needs to glisten as I cruise along
You
on the Italian or the French Riviera.
French,
That's the idea.
French
So yes,
Riviera,
it's
instead
a
of taking
spider.
the car to work, you're just gonna sit on the Autobahn in a traffic jam for 2 hours, just boiling your head off and
This
blinding
is true.
everyone else.
And my bald head is gonna fry in the sun.
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna get a sunburn.
you're gonna be a beacon of corporate despair sitting in your convertible Artura on the motorway in a in a traffic jam.
This is true. I
That
was
being
hoping you weren't gonna bring it back to reality, but okay, thanks.
Nah, no chance, bro. This is a corporate podcast where we need to circle back and
Yes,
all that the bullshit lingo.
yes.
But no, I was thinking,
Waiting in the traffic jam on the Autobahn is the right way. Yes,
yeah.
that's the life. Yes.
But no, I was thinking I'm gonna take like a convertible to work, and I was thinking maybe a older-ish BMW Z4, maybe. The three
Yes.
liter
The
straight
second
six
generation is
engine.
an amazing car.
Oh yeah,
Yes, beautiful.
yeah.
The E89 BMW Z4,
Oh yeah,
the second generation,
yeah.
is a fantastic car. Like absolutely epic. Quintessential BMW, I would say.
I really like those, and I think their handling is good, and I just like the shape of it, like that really long hood,
It
and
is.
like all the engine in the
It
front,
is,
all the
yeah.
power in the back, and you're just sitting there, strapped on right in the middle, close to the rear axle, and just holding up for dear life.
Yeah. It also helps you compensate for other shortcomings in your yeah.
Yeah, that's why
That
I want the
long
car.
hood,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
It's
That's exactly why I want the
yes,
car.
yes. The exactly. Yeah. No, I knew this already. It's a good one. Yeah. No, that's a
Yeah.
good car actually. Yeah, I like it. I like the E89 Z4.
Yeah, same here. Unfortunately, don't have one, but this week that's what I would take over to work if I could.
That's one car that's actually going down in price actually. Like all these Porsche 996s are even climbing
Okay.
crazy prices these days. But the E89 and the one before that, I forget the number. I think it's
Uh, I can't remember right now, but
I
anyway, it doesn't
forget
matter.
the first generation. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are actually going down in prices, or they've not climbed so much. Let's say.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I think we're starting to
no, that's a
go
good call. Good
low on time
choice.
here as well for our
Yes, we
podcast.
are 35. So
Yep. And I'm also out
I
of
think it's a
battery on
good.
my laptop. Very poor planning on my
Oh,
end.
great! Very
Very well
very
executed.
corporate
I know.
touch. Yeah, very well executed. Well done.
So
You're a true project manager, my friend.
yeah, that's why I need to dial out of this meeting before my battery dies. Yeah. Uh,
Excellent.
but
Okay,
no, this has been
cool.
the first episode. We will be back next week,
The
where we're
pilot, yeah.
gonna talk a bit more about the differences between the corporate world, the startup world, since you have a bit of expertise there, and we can deep dive a bit more into what grinds our corporate gears and
Yes.
what makes us get out
Yes.
of bed in the morning for the job.
Love it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Adi, and for anyone that's still listening here, thank you for being here for the pilot episode, and looking forward to hopefully see
If
you
you haven't
again.
switched off to another podcast, yeah. If you
Exactly.
haven't switched off to another podcast within the first 3 minutes, then yeah. Thank you so much.
Then please come back for more. We'll
See you
we'll,
next
we'll
week.
get better. Yeah. See you next week, everyone. All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.